all profit is value extraction. And that means that all profit is theft from you.
Corporate America is on welfare, and we got to get them off welfare.
Last words on my lips. I am a revolutionary, and you're gonna have to keep on saying that.
Oh wait, are we doing it now?
Okay. Oh, I should have said, who wants to do the intro?
All right, who's clapping?
Oh, you can't see. That was Zach.
1, 2, 3, clap. All right, got it.
That bullshit's fine when we're all started at the same point. I was so mad at myself one time because I was trying to sync things up, and I had been clapping randomly for like 6 minutes, and I made my life so hard that day.
Yeah, you kind of brought that one on yourself there, buddy.
Yeah. I don't think about the consequences of my actions, because normally they just don't come back to me.
All right. Anyone want to intro the show?
I feel like me yelling about the consequences of my actions was a good intro.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That opens it up.
Yeah, I'll do it. Fuck it.
Yeah, go for it.
Welcome to Cars and Comrades, your favorite communist car podcast. Here we have the whole crew today, and special guest Alex, who I believe is now our only returning guest.
Hell yeah.
So,
what an honor.
No, we've had at least one person on twice.
Who?
I think. Well, no, Alex, you've been on twice before, right?
Now?
That's true. Yeah, we did a 2-part episode.
Oh, right.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
now I'm the third. This is sick. Yeah.
Yeah, you are definitely the
regular.
the top guest as far as appearances.
Hell yeah.
You're our
So
official.
you
You're our official Florida correspondent now.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Florida Spondent.
Florida
official Florida man.
Hey, someone's got to be down here taking care of their in Minecraft.
Gotta
Hell yeah.
keep an eye on the Gators.
Yeah.
My favorite Florida man thing of all time was when the dude went into a liquor store to buy beer with an alligator under his arm, and when he was interviewed about it after the fact, he was like, I do not remember doing that. Had no recollection of where the gator came from.
Some people have them as pets.
He did not.
No.
I mean, he did briefly.
Okay, fair. I mean, he seemed to have tamed it. We got everyone here today. Connor, Zach, Bryant, and Alex. All he, hims. So let's just roll right in with project car updates. That sound good?
Yeah, I think that's all we're doing this week, really. We're just updating on everything that we've been busy with for, the last month or so?
Yeah, I feel like the warning up front is it's going to be very car updates heavy.
Maybe not,
there
because I know
was-
you have a lot, but I have very little.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess we'll see.
I've got a lot.
Damn it.
I know Alex has a lot.
Are we just going to say at the top of the show that we don't care that Biden dropped out and nothing matters?
We don't need to cover that.
Okay.
That's fine.
I think it's funny.
Thank you. All right.
I would
moving
like to
on.
say that for the record, even though he's dropped out, I still hope he dies from COVID.
Yeah.
I want him to drop
I'm-
out of life.
Yeah. Drop out harder, coward.
I'm just feeling unburdened by what has been,
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
By what can be done, or something like that.
Yeah, what is to be done?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever
What is
discussed
to be
this?
done? Someone should write a book.
I'm gonna get on that.
I think as far as I think Alex should go first, both alphabetically and because he's the guest.
Oh, man.
So, Alex, I know you've been up to a lot with Lemons Racing. Anything else, or where do you want to start on that?
I'm not really sure where I was at the last time I was on here, but as far as project cars, I've actually sold 2 cars. So
Nice.
nature is healing. Yeah, my apartment complex recently really started getting frustrated with the amount of cars I have versus the amount of cars that I have registered with the leasing office. That used to be easy. It used to be an easy workaround because if you put an out-of-state tag on the car, they don't have like a parking sticker or anything. the only thing they could do is slap a tow sticker on your car if your registration was out of date. But if you don't have a Florida tag, they can't really police out-of-state registrations. And I just have a couple of tags from a couple of different states for whatever reasons.
Yeah,
But
who doesn't?
yeah, but now they started policing any tags that aren't registered with the leasing office itself. So for a couple of months, I've just been moving cars around, trying to make it look like I'm a guest here. And
Yeah.
the worst thing that happened was they have a resident now who volunteered to police this whole situation.
Boo.
Fucking
Fuck that.
narc.
And
Guillotine.
she apparently is very bored and very serious about her position. So much so that one of the maintenance guys came up to me when I was at the garage messing around with one of the cars, and he's like, "Hey man, I'm not here to bother you." He's like, "I'm just letting you know, like, I used to be the guy that was in charge of, like, checking registrations and tow stickers." He's like, "I don't care." He's like, "I know you're not bothering anyone. You're not, like, using an air hammer at 11 p.m. Like, he's like, I didn't really care, but the new lady does, and they're going to start, like, booting and towing cars that aren't registered with the leasing office. So they also won't let me register any more cars with the leasing office.
That was going to be my next question.
No.
Okay.
They said, you have a 2-bedroom apartment, you're allowed 2 cars. And at one point I had 6. So, yeah, I had to move some cars to work, and then in a very untimely fashion, my job also has just been, like, overloaded with too many cars in the parking lot, and we're building a new dealership, so parking is limited, so they're also threatening to tow any cars that are on the property. So I was kind of forced to figure out a solution, so I sold 2 of my Volkswagens. We still have 3 of them. So I've got an 86 GTI that's just going to be like a restoration project. That's staying in the garage, so they can't bother me about that. And I have a 97 Porsche Boxster that's a track build. And then I have her daily driver, which is fine. That's in an assigned parking spot, and then my daily driver. So yeah, since the last episode, car-wise, I think we lowered her car. We put coilovers on her Volkswagen.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What coilovers did you end up going with?
We went with, like, the cheapest. We got her car for $2,500. So it was like a really well-maintained Volkswagen Passat. And the guy we got it from was, like, the typical old dude that did, like, every service at the dealer and, like,
Hell yeah.
even gave us a receipt from like 2 years ago. He paid like $3,000 to do like timing belt, water pump, valve cover gaskets. Like, the car's absolutely good to go. So there's a
You
brand.
got it for $2,500? Damn.
So he's just like, I don't know. Through a friend of a friend, he hit me up and he's like, hey, I don't know, whatever Kelly Blue Book says, is fair. Let's do that. I'm like, okay. It's an older car. It's a 2002, but, like, he was the original owner. Garage kept its whole life. Just, like,
Wow.
it was just an old guy wagon. Like, it's a Passat wagon. It's not the type of car that falls in the hands of, like, tuner kids. So
So there's nobody there to fuck it up?
there's nobody there to fuck it up until now.
Yeah.
Now you get to fuck it up.
Yeah.
So there's 2 types of car guys. I got this car for $2,500, so I don't really want to spend any money on it. Or I got this car for $2,500, so I can spend as much as I want on it because I got it so cheap.
Yeah, $2,500 is basically free. You might
Oh,
as well
yeah.
just put all your budget into mods at that point.
Well, she loves it. She will only drive a wagon. So we got coilovers. We didn't, like, max them out. We just lowered it a little bit on some Audi wheels with some wheel spacers, and, like, that's it. We're done. And that car gets
Hell yeah.
more compliments than, like, anything I've driven ever. I don't know why. So yeah, her car's good, and then I've got a 97 Boxster that I'm building for the track that I got super cheap from one of my clients because he was just, like, a rich dude that probably has over 30 Porsches in his collection. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I bought this one, and I was going to use it for Lemons Racing, but I got this other one. So I got this car for $4,500, and doing H&R coilovers. I've got some bucket seats for it. I'm getting a hard top for it, and then it's got like 60,000 miles. So I'm going to track
Wow.
it. I'm going to track it until something happens. But they're generally pretty reliable engines.
What engine is in that?
So it's a
97 Boxster.
It's the base. It's not an S. It's a 2.7 liter flat six.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Still
it's.
flat six, a lot of torque.
Oh, it's a
That's
lot
a
of
fun
fun.
motor.
Yeah, I think it's like 200 horsepower. And the cool thing is, it's going to end up being in the same class as all my friends who do track days. My one buddy has a BMW 1 Series, but it's the 128, so it's not like the turboed super fast one. And then my other buddy tracks a BRZ, which is stock other than suspension. So we all fall into the same class, like power to weight
yeah.
ratio wise. So it really came together well. So yeah,
What racing series are you doing? Or
we just do track days, like time trials
Oh,
with
okay.
Performance Driving Group. I'm gonna in August. I think it's called FARA, FARA. Gonna try to do like one of their time trial races where you're not really, wheel to wheel racing. You're just racing for the best lap time in your class. And who else? There's a company down here called Chin, and then there's NASA, spelled the same as the NASA space organization. And they're about the cheapest ways to go racing down here. I'll do it like 3 to 4 times a year, and hopefully it won't blow up anytime soon.
cool. Yeah, I mean they have that IMS bearing thing that's
So the
kind of an issue,
The
right?
good thing about the early ones, the 97 and the base model, it was the single row bearing, which was way less problematic.
Okay.
And I probably will end up doing it just because the car feels like it's going to need a clutch soon, and the transmission has to come out to do that IMS bearing. But for now, I'm just going to kind of wing it. And then I also have a 2000 Boxster S that I got as like a really good deal and really, really nice car. I picked it up from a customer of ours who was like, it was a non-runner, and he was pretty much like, the first person to give me $5,000 will take the car. But it was a super low mileage, clean car, and I'm probably into it for 8. And thanks to Connor, you had the Camaro, right?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, you actually motivated me because you were talking about finally like listing the Camaro or giving it out on consignment.
Yep.
My plan with the 2000 Boxster was to bring a trailer because it's like an immaculate, like super well spec'd Boxster, and their values have just gone crazy in the past few years. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, hearing that you finally like got that thing out like on consignment, I finally did all the little things I need to do to the blue Boxster, and I got approved by Bring a Trailer, so the photographer is going to come by Sunday, and we're going to get that thing listed.
Hell yeah.
Heck yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I'm into it for about 8, and just judging from the market, from like very similar cars, I'm expecting it to do between like 20 and 25.
Holy
Damn.
shit,
God
that is a
damn.
come up, bro.
And
That
you,
is-
you know what it needed? Fresh fuel and a fuel pump. The car sat for 2 years, and the shop that the guy got it from, he brought it to. They totally like took him for a ride, charged him $2,000 diagnosis to tell him he needed some control module that nothing was wrong with. But like, even if that had been the case, it still would have been a good buy. But yeah, once I towed it out of there and got my hands on it and looked at it for 2 hours, I realized the gasoline wasn't gasoline anymore. Put a new pump and gas, and it fired right up.
God damn.
Quick side tangent. There's a I think it's still around. There's a Facebook group that's called Needs Fuel Pump, which is just like online listings of cars. It's like, it's totally fine, man. It just
That's
needs a
all
fuel
it
pump
needs.
to start. That's all it needs. But you found the one that was actually true.
Well, because they didn't know that it just needed a fuel pump.
Yeah. No, I got lucky. This guy totally got taken for a ride by like a Florida man, independent repair shop. Like I feel bad for the dude, but at the same time, he was like a much older gentleman that actually had like a terminal illness, and that's the reason he was getting rid of the car. He's like, listen, he was the original owner. He had this car since 2000, and he literally bought it from the dealership I work for. So he's like, I just don't want my wife to deal with all my crap, once that day comes. So you're doing me a favor. So everybody's happy.
Nice.
Yeah, that pretty much catches me up on most of the crap I've been up to.
Well, do you want to talk about your Lemons racing, or should we save that for later?
Whatever you want to do.
I think we should save that for later.
Yeah, because
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
then
let's
that
burn
feels
through
like an
this.
actual topic.
Yeah, let's burn through this car updates before we get into other shit.
Okay. Well, if we're going alphabetically, that'd be Brandon, unless someone else wants to go first, or...
I'll go. I should be pretty quick.
Okay.
Started fucking with one of my motorcycles, got it running. It seems to need a coil because it will idle until it gets hot, and then it won't even start again. Not sure that's coil, but the ignition's relatively new, and that would be the other obvious culprit. Coil's $50, so I'm just gonna throw a new one on because that coil's probably as old as I am, so it's worth trying.
Always start with the cheap solution.
Because it's still $50, I'll probably test the coil first, but I'm probably just gonna buy a new coil. That's been a thing. Even though like summer's almost over, it feels like is summer ever really gonna be over again? So I'm gonna get a motorcycle back on the road just to make my life a little more easy and a little more fun. I was doing some Bondo work on my 75 Chevy that I welded the new rocker into when I realized that I just did the bodywork really badly. And there is a bulge because it's kind of hard to explain without a diagram, but because it was like a 4 or 5 foot long weld.
That's a long weld.
Well, the fitment on the panels was a little bit long, but because it was so like the length of the cut was so long, it allowed it to like bulge a little bit, so it seemed like it fit until I started trying to sand everything down. Fortunately, I found a really easy solution, and it's halfway fixed now. So that's cool. I love easy fixes to problems. The Cutlass is running great. It's just been a tank lately. I was trying to do a transmission in it this week. I don't know if I'm gonna get around to it because I'm just fucking slammed. I did find more rot in my Chevy. I like kicked one of the the rear fender or rear like cab corner, whatever you want to call it, because I'm like, there's a lot of rust under this corner, but the cab corner seems fine. The floor fell out.
Oh.
Like a good 2 or 3 square feet of floor just gave way, and yeah, when I opened up the inside, realized that water's been leaking in from the door and just pooling up right there, so it's just gone. Let's see what else. I've been working on everybody else's shit a lot. That's just sort of my normal MO. That literally spent all goddamn day today putting a lift kit on my friend's Tacoma.
I feel that.
Yeah. It would have gone so smoothly if somehow the upper A-arm bolt just had somewhere to go once you tried to pull it out.
Is it one of those bolts where like it would have made sense if the bolt went in from the other direction? Like it would have a way to go, or either way?
That would have probably made less sense. I mean, like, the solution here was you literally just had to take the sheet metal that it was hitting and knock it out of the way. But on one side, it just did not want to move enough to clear the bolt. The other side took minutes. But one side took, like, probably an hour and a half. I had the angle grinder in there. I was hitting it with hammers.
I hate that.
Well, the second side is the one that went easily, so I'm pretty sure I was just doing something wrong on the first side. But, yeah, mostly, like, small stuff, man. I've been busy in general and just not working on too much car stuff, and things have... Dude, I put, like, a fucking good luck trinket that my fucking partner gave to me as, like, just a gag in my Ford, and it has started every fucking time since.
Don't take it out.
I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious, so it stays in.
I saw something where like an astrologer predicted that Trump would, or excuse me, that Biden would drop out today. And people are like, oh, maybe I need to reassess my belief in
Oh
astrology.
my god.
No, reassess your belief in the Democratic Party.
That's incredible too, especially because like someone could believe that, and it's just like if you have followed the news for the last like week, it was coming any day.
Yeah.
Like there's no predictive power here. It was just like that's not even reading the tea leaves. That's just watching the fucking TV.
I really,
like,
Yeah.
I thought it was going to take him dying, and a part of me still wishes that the case.
Once he said he had COVID, because I mean that's the excuse I use every time I don't want to go to work now. I feel like that was just like opening it up.
It seems like work is all he does want to do, though. Jesus, dude, you're knocking on death's door. Relax for a couple of years. Take a bath with your favorite toaster. Fuck off.
he's just like really working hard to like get the screw over the last few working class people that he can before he's done. Like he's like, no, I need to hurt a few more people, please.
No, Connor, you don't get it. Once he's reelected, he's gonna do all the things he said he was gonna do.
That is the craziest shit. The offers to like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it, and everybody.
Once-
I like how no one fell for it, and they were just like, you could do that right now.
Yeah.
Do it, fucking asshole.
Yeah, I had a friend who like very recently got into an argument with me about how we have to vote for Biden no matter what, and I'm like, I really thought as millennials we were past this, but all right, let's go. And they just argued with me up and down, and I was so pumped because I found out last week. I like gave her shit about that argument, and she's like, "Oh no, I changed my mind because of that argument," and I'm like, "Yes, fuck yeah!"
Wow.
I was going somewhere with that.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
totally don't remember where it was, but one of my like rad lib friends
Yes.
actually listened to me. It was an astounding moment.
Sorry if I derailed the conversation a
Oh,
little
no,
bit.
it's fine. I was all but done. The one thing I've done that is not really car project stuff, but it will become that way very soon, is I bought a couple of sheet metal tools, and I've been like I've started practicing like hammering out sheet metal and doing a better job of it now that I have like a more of a tool set to work with. And I think that there's a couple of more things I'm going to buy, and then I'll be like literally able to make most of the sheet metal panels that I will need in the future.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I the week I got back from Denver, I did a job interview every single day that week.
Well, that's a week.
Woof, yeah.
Yeah.
It was I got back to my house Friday or Monday night and had a job interview every single day that week. And of the 4 that I did, 3 of them gave me offers, and now I'm going to be making crazy good like two things happen in conjunction that has changed the course of my Cutlass's life. Driving Connor's Z through the mountains and realizing what good suspension actually feels like. And then getting a well-paying job where I can afford good suspension. So probably after the transmission, that thing is going in for tubular A-arms, coilovers, beefier sway bar, whole shebang. And any fucking
could be so
brace
cool.
to stiffen it up, I'm going with. I'm going all front end first so that it can handle the big block whenever I get around to that. But I'll reinforce the frame eventually, and yeah, I'm gonna lean into that fucking thing.
Connor, you're motivating a lot of people lately.
Yeah, good on
Apparently,
you.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I mean, you motivated me to get my MR2 ready for the mountains. Well, as ready as it was.
It did great in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it did great.
Well, until after you guys left.
Oh.
The check engine light came on and it blew a fuse.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had some hiccups after y'all left. So
Oh, did you?
We had a little fun time.
Well,
Yeah, we had some hiccups after we left too. So
But yeah, I'm going to be building containers for nuclear waste and heat exchangers for nuclear reactors. So that's kind of
Sick.
sick.
very cool.
And I guess they really want those people to be competent because I'm getting paid decently. But it's not all because of the job. Part of it is because of the United Steelworkers Union that I will be joining. Hell yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
sweet.
So that will be the second union that I'm a member of, which puts this podcast up to what, 2 unions? Get to work,
Yeah,
fuckers.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I could rattle on, but that's pretty well me. I've not
Yeah.
done too much more than that. Or order Bryant's next.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. So I've been up to a lot of stuff. I'll try and keep it brief, but let's see. So I got the wheels and tires for the MR2. We already covered that. And then I ended up buying a 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV.
Which rips.
And it is fast, which is one of the reasons why I bought it. I'm kind of having some buyer's remorse, honestly. I kind of wish I had either, stuck out for a better deal or maybe gotten a different car, maybe a Volt hybrid or the Spark EV, which is like the smaller, it's
Is the Bolt too fast for you? I don't get it. Like,
so the Spark is a little bit slower. It's like maybe a second less or second longer to 0 to 60.
that's slower for sure.
Yeah, but it's only 2,800 pounds, so it's like a little tiny compact hatchback. A little bit more sporty, and like half the price. So that's the real reason why I would get it. But also like a third the range, so I wouldn't be able to go very far with it. So like I think it's like maximum 80 miles, like realistically maybe 70. So
That's
Like,
really
if
not
I-
far at all.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
not
so,
really
like-
making a strong argument for that choice.
yeah, if I like visited my parents, I would have to charge it for 4 hours before I go home. So, but the other reason this Bolt that I got, I don't know. Should I break down the price on what I paid for it and everything?
If you want.
You know what? I think it's a good idea, just so people know.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's if you're interested in an electric car. Here's some of the things about it, because it's very convoluted and shit.
Yeah. First off, like, to get all the tax breaks and stuff, you have to go through a dealer, which is one of the worst experiences I've dealt with lately as far as buying anything.
That's a scam.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's coming from someone who works at a dealership. So.
That's why I'm telling you it's a scam.
So I found the listing on like cars.com or whatever, and it was listed at like, I think 11,600, like 11,000 and change, something like that. And I get to the dealership, I'm like, yeah, let's go for a test drive. All right. It's the cheapest one in the Denver area that didn't sell like that day, that it was listed. But it's also one of the most high mileage ones. But I made sure I checked the VIN. The battery is still in warranty for another 60,000 miles because they replaced the battery under a recall 2 years ago.
Okay.
So it's got basically, a nearly new battery that should last plenty of time.
If it gets a third battery, will that battery then have a full warranty?
No, definitely not.
Is there no
Like you get,
Is there no time limit on the warranty, or is it just mileage?
I think it's like 8 years or something.
Oh,
So it's
sweet.
like good for like 2031, I want to say is when it expires.
Nice.
It's
It's a pretty sick warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
honestly
so
really good.
The reason why they had a recall is because some of them caught on fire.
Good reason.
So they're like, we're going to take care of this and make sure this doesn't happen again. So anyways, I show up to the dealership. It drives okay, except the, what do you call it? The steering rack makes a clunk. And this is a known problem that these things have. So I'm like, okay, we can talk about this. I talk about price and they're like, oh, no. That price online, we didn't put that posting up. That's auto-generated by cars.com.
Yeah,
And-
sure.
and the actual price is, I think it was like 12,700 or thereabouts. Or excuse me, 12,700.
So about an extra $1,100.
Yeah. And I'm like, can you do something here? Can you meet me in the middle? They're like, no, I'm sorry. That's the way the price is or whatever. And I'm like, I think I should go home and think about this. And they're like, okay, we can take $600 off of that.
Right off the bat.
I'm like, okay, well, I mean, there's this steering rack that has a problem. You know, I'm not gonna pay the like $3,000 that the dealership quoted me to replace it. I'm just gonna do it myself. But you know, and they're like, okay, we can give you a discount on the part also.
A discount on the part from the dealership sounds like a 30% markup from the fucking Rock Auto or something like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Rock Auto has these parts, but I don't know. Maybe I should have checked. Anyways, that was like $300 or something for the steering rack. So I've got that in my garage now. I just haven't put it in. So I'm still driving this around on temp plates, and you know, on the highway in Castle Rock, Colorado, which is near where the Renaissance Fair is, and there's a lot of traffic, right? And traffic is slowing down in front of me, and I have to like kind of slam on my brakes to stop. Some teenager in a Nissan rear ends me going, I don't know how fast.
What kind of Nissan? Was it an Altima? I feel like
It was a Murano, so it was a Taltima.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. They're all.
Yeah. So this teenager rear-ended me. He pulls over. We exchange insurance information. It belongs to his mom. And he's like, hey, I get paid on Friday. You know, don't worry. I'll just pay for this out of pocket. Just go get an estimate, and, you know, we don't have to involve the insurance company or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go and do that. I go to get the estimate, and it's like $6,000 because they have to replace the backup camera and the parking sensors, like the sonar shits in the bumper and whatnot. I don't know if they actually need to replace them. They're still working as far as I can tell, but they're like, oh yeah,
that's like an old time scam that's just been tolerated for decades, where it's like every body shop is like, oh, this was an accident, I have to replace quote unquote small parts in the bumper, and you're like, well, why are there small parts in the bumper? And they're like, don't worry about it, they're just really expensive, and you definitely got to get us a bunch of money from the insurance company. Yeah, that's again, even if they had to replace the backup camera, I mean, those are like $200. And the sonar sensors, I mean, yeah, I suppose those could be expensive, but something tells me the manufacturer probably doesn't put like $3,000 sensors in the part of the car that's meant to get bashed into things.
right.
You know.
Now you would think that,
Just a guess. Yeah.
but I wouldn't be so sure.
I'm only like 60% confident in that assessment.
Well, and what they do after, you know, dinging your insurance company for all those parts is they don't replace them, and then they return them to the place they bought the parts from.
Oh, so you have this on good authority, I assume.
I've only heard that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I sent him over that estimate, and he's like, actually I was texting with his mom, and she's like, that sounds fake. Can you get another estimate? And I'm like, I'm gonna call the insurance company. How about that? So that's what I did yesterday. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm sure it'll be a fun adventure.
Did you have to make a police report or no?
No, I mean, I called the non-emergency police line, and they're like, yeah, we don't really need to do that.
Okay.
So I talked to the insurance company also, and they're like, I don't know. So I don't know why everyone's kind of like whatever blasé about it, but whatever. I'm not going to worry about it for now.
I love that in that story, no one wanted you to call the police.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
I like how even the police are just like, nah, we don't want to do that. Like
they asked me, was anyone injured, and is anyone drunk? And I'm like, no. And they're like, all right, don't worry about it.
Well, not injured from the accident. This kid might have alcohol poisoning, though.
Yeah, so that's been an adventure. But like, honestly, like, the car is a good car, but it's just kind of boring, and also the front seats are kind of uncomfortable.
Oh,
for
no.
longer than 20 minutes at a time. It starts hurting my back.
Now you got to go get the Recaro seats. Damn.
I am thinking about it. I'm looking at what my options are, I can get another like a later model Chevy Bolt EV seat,
Oh, that'd be a good move.
but it's like the one I saw on eBay was like $600 or something.
But wait, it's a Chevy, right? Okay,
Yeah.
American cars are usually pretty simple and they don't like changing things up much. I would bet that like the Cobalt SS Recaros would bolt right to that car.
I'll have to look into it. Like I know the Volt hybrid seats will also swap in, but so it's a heated seat that it has an airbag in it,
Okay.
like on the side, like on the door side. So I don't know how that works with the wiring and telling the ECU that it's fine if there's a, an airbag missing or whatever. So I still need to do some research on that. But
If I could just say something stupid for a moment.
yeah,
It is, like, hearing you talk, it's astounding to me because I'm realizing how little emphasis I put on comfort in a vehicle. I drove my van thousands of miles before I swapped the driver and passenger seats because the driver's seat was profoundly broken.
But I feel like I've realized that old American cars have some of the most comfortable seats ever made. Like even if it's
Yeah,
a
it's
bench
like
seat
sitting
or
on a
not.
couch.
Yeah. So your seat probably is really comfortable. That's why you don't even think about it.
Mine?
Yeah.
No, it is not.
Oh. You just
new-
don't mind discomfort then.
Again, the back was broken, so like, the back of the seat is not adjustable, so it was like welded in place, and one side was broken, so that one side sagged back further than the other side by like a good 4 or 5 inches. And I was just like, this is fine. Like my back hurts if I drive more than an hour, but I can live with that. Really weirdly okay with discomfort.
Brian, what's your complaint with this seat? Is it like too stiff, or like you can't get in like a comfortable seating position, or all of the above?
So it's real narrow. Like I'm not a particularly fat person, but like my butt barely fits on top of the seat. It doesn't go like inside the bolsters at all.
Okay.
So I'm kind of floating around in there. I feel like I'm gonna fall out. And then the back is like almost totally straight. Like there's no lumbar support. There's almost no curvature to it at all. So I gotta come up with something. Maybe I'll just get like a pillow or something for now. But yeah, it's like if I have any kind of back pain at all, it's just gonna make it worse, But I don't know. We'll see. The other thing I'm thinking about doing is changing the tires because they're like these eco, like low rolling resistance tires that, like, if I floor it at a stoplight, it'll just spin them, for the first little bit until the traction control kicks in.
Dude, I know I hate it when a car does burnouts. I think I have those eco tires on my Cutlass actually. Now that you mention it.
I do think that might have a little to do with the instantaneous torque. I feel like I don't know if like different tires are gonna change that situation.
No, he's gonna put some Hoosiers on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say drag slicks will definitely solve that problem.
Start breaking axles on your electric car.
I'm thinking some kind of either performance all season or summer tires on that. But I think what I'm going to do is, just put snow tires on the stock rims for now. For the winter, I'm going to put snow tires on there, and then figure out in the spring what I want to do. Get some another set of wheels that are maybe a little bit lighter.
Hoosier cheater slicks.
And just drive that on the road everywhere.
That's
rain
what
or
the
shine.
cheater part's for. They're
Okay.
street legal
Oh, okay.
because they have tread.
So they're not really slicks?
They have a line cut through the middle of the tire. That's the
Okay.
that's
Make
the
the
tread.
road legal.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Are you doing the car guy thing where you're like, okay, this is the car that is definitely never going to get modified in any way. This is my daily
No,
driver.
not at all.
Okay.
No. This is my daily driver that I'm going to modify.
Okay.
The other thing I don't like about it is that it sits up too high. So I'm thinking either lowering springs or coilovers.
Coilovers. Do it.
Definitely coils, yeah.
Anyone that does lowering springs on like the stock, otherwise struts or shocks, they always regret it and just end up buying coilovers later.
Yeah, I mean, the only lowering springs are only 1 inch lowering, and they're like $300 or $400. But then the coilovers are like $1,300 or $1,400.
You can find cheaper ones. I can't speak to
there's
their
only
quality.
one company that makes it for this car.
Really?
Yeah.
What about
I
like
checked.
lightly used? I could talk to the guy that I bought the computer from. He might have shit.
Okay. Yeah.
Or you might be able to get them.
Yeah, he knows.
You know.
Just find one. Find a one of your car. Like I forget if it's a Bolt or a Volt. It's the Bolt, right?
Bolt with a B.
Yeah. So, just find a Bolt in a rich neighborhood that has coilovers and tell me the address.
Yeah, I don't think they sell a lot of these coilovers.
I've never
so,
seen
I don't
a
think there's a huge
modified
market.
Bolt.
There are at least 2 of them. There's one person that has raced Lemons, and it might actually be the same person that did like some kind of autocross.
Don't you get some kind of? Is it not free admission? What do you get if you race a hybrid successfully in Lemons? Isn't there a?
I don't remember. Yeah.
I think you get a free race if you do well or finish in a hybrid. Like your next race admission is free. We'll look into that for next episode.
Yeah, I have been thinking. I mean, I think I did talk about this on the hybrid episode that a Chevy Volt would make a good Lemons race car if you like strip out some weight from it because they're pretty heavy.
Okay.
How many miles is your average Lemons rate?
Good question.
What's
I mean,
that?
it's basically driving for what 18, 20 hours or something nonstop.
I know in 2021, when we did Sebring in our Volkswagen Rabbit, the car did 830 miles that weekend on track. Didn't blow up.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I'm thinking is put a rear sway bar on the Bolt, because that's basically the only other performance mod that you can get for it.
That seems worthwhile.
But yeah,
I'm thinking about upgrading my Ford with a front sway bar.
yeah.
Bryant, can you go over again? I think we kind of glossed over the tax incentives and the costs and all that stuff. Can we like see like how that kind of works out?
Yeah, so let me get up my calculations. Where the fuck did I put that? Okay, so the final price I paid after taxes and everything was about $13,800. But so in Colorado, you get a $3,000 rebate from the utility company for a used electric or plug-in hybrid car, and then federally you get a 30% tax rebate or whatever. I don't remember, tax credit. I forget what it is. So with all of that, my final price after I get those should be around $7,200 that I end up paying for it.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know. So the $3,000 rebate from the utility, is that like upfront? Like they just get you a check for that, or?
That's my understanding. I haven't gotten it yet. I've done all the paperwork for it, and they told me that you should be approved, but I haven't actually gotten it yet. And the tax credit, I don't get that until I file my taxes in the spring.
What the fuck is a 30%? Like 30% of what tax credit?
Of the
cost of the vehicle?
purchase of the car.
But like, so it's a tax credit. So like, so the purchase price of the car is whatever that was, and then you get that rebate in your taxes. So they'll give you 30% of that value back in like your return, or they'll be like, that's how much less taxes you owe until you get to zero, and then whatever.
Yeah, I think that's how much less taxes you owe. So I don't know like how much I'll actually get back. I don't know how taxes
Taxes
I don't-
are
yeah.
intentionally confusing for pretty much everybody that isn't a professional. So
I'm pretty sure they're confusing for professionals too, to be
Yeah.
honest. But yeah,
hopefully you get more money back this time.
Right. Yeah, I hope so.
But honestly, that's not a bad. You know, if you ended up paying $7 something for the car, I don't know if you've. I mean, our last episode that I was on, we talked about the used car market, and like $7,000 does not get you anything great nowadays, especially with any kind of warranty, which it sounds like you walked away with a warranty on the most expensive part of the vehicle.
Right, and it still also has a warranty on the electric motor and those components for another 5,000 miles.
Yeah, because I'd have to
So-
bet the battery is, like, probably a new battery from Chevy is probably the value of the vehicle, if not more.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I've gone on some of the forums and stuff and seen people that they, hit something and, punctured the battery and totaled the car.
Yep.
So that's definitely a thing. Which, another thing I might buy is a skid plate to go underneath it. I think those are around $500, but they're from some company in Ukraine where you like give them money via PayPal and they ship it to you in a couple weeks or something.
That seems like you probably shouldn't give them money. I'm going to be honest. That
Yeah.
doesn't sound great to me.
I mean,
that
I've
sounds
seen
a little
people on
sketchy.
I've seen people on the forum say, "Yeah, I got it. Here's a picture of it. Shipped to my house. I installed it and it worked." So I guess they're at least delivering some of them, but I don't know.
I ordered one from them, and it came on time, and it was in good condition, but it had Slava Ukraine with SS bolts etched into it.
Oh, God.
So the other thing is the car didn't come with a spare tire or a jack or a tire iron.
Boo.
So, thankfully, my neighbor, who mostly just speaks Russian, was like trying to get rid of some of the stuff in his garage, and using Google Translate on his phone and stuff, we were able to communicate. But he's like, I got this floor jack, this little like one of those little tiny hydraulic floor jacks. It's like, I don't know, the size of a small cat or something, and he's like, yeah, here, I sell to you or whatever. So I got that, and then I got that tire iron that Connor just gave me.
Oh, yeah.
And then today I went to the junkyard and got a spare tire for like $20 or something. Yeah, so
Hell yeah.
I'm all set in that regard. I got my little air pump that pumps into the spare tire, or what do you call it, into the cigarette lighter thing too. So I'm all set for emergencies.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that reminds me
Very
of my
nice.
big car update. My tire has had a slow leak for months, and I just put air in it every 3 days. And I finally got it fixed yesterday.
We've all been there.
Yeah. The one of the tires on the bolt has a slow leak, but it has the tire pressure monitoring thingamajigs in it. So I can see that it's low. I have a little display on the dash, and I can just run the pump until the number goes up to the right number, and then shut it off. And it's really convenient.
My van has a
But,
tire
yeah,
pressure alarm where, like, when it gets low enough, it goes thump 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 when you drive it.
Yeah.
We were on 95, which in South Florida is just like a war zone. Yesterday, on the way back from dinner with friends, in a Lexus, I think a GS, the wheel just came off in front of us, and we saw it veer off onto the shoulder and go over a fence.
The last month has reaffirmed my belief about Lexuses across the board.
Yeah, the right rear wheel just off the car, gone. Luckily, like, he was
At least it
already
wasn't the
in
wrong one.
Yeah. God damn it. Luckily, he was already in like the right lane, so that the wheel didn't have a chance to hit someone or another car, and he just kind of pulled over to the shoulder. But that's like my biggest fear. Just
Yeah, it's a good thing he
driving,
wasn't in the
Yeah.
wrong lane.
All right, guys, it's been good.
So, listener, Brandon does this in person also.
Yeah, very much.
If you were wondering.
Can't believe it.
I remain 100% on brand at all times.
Yeah, totally.
It's actually where my name came from. Brand on.
Jesus Christ. Can you mute other people?
Maybe, I don't know. Where was I? I forgot where I was talking about.
I think he started with tire pressure monitoring, but my story just totally took him off the rails.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another reason why I might want to replace those tires is when it has a slow leak. So I've been, trying to sell the Subaru, and hopefully in about half an hour I've got someone coming to see it, and we'll see. We'll see if I end up selling it or if I have to take it to like a consignment thing, like Connor was doing. So, but it's just been sitting gathering dust outside of my place, and I just see it and kind of feel a little sorry for it sitting there, but I don't know.
Have you considered like one of the auction websites, like Cars and Bids? Because my old roommate had a Subaru, and I know like it's a pretty small community of people, but like people who love those things really do. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I did post it in the Subaru group on Facebook. I don't know. I mean, I think just because it's got 200,000 miles, is people don't want to buy it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Some guy from Chicago was wanting to come out here and buy it, but then I said that there's a little bit of rust, but it's like Colorado levels of rust and not Chicago levels of rust.
Yeah, that's like I think there was a misunderstanding there, because I'm like, my dude, it is not rust like you think it is. Like it's not. It's zero rust by our standards.
Yeah.
I sheared off seized
So
bolts on a 5-year-old Tacoma because they were so rusted together earlier today. A 5-year-old Tacoma.
So you're gonna hate me even more.
7. I'm bad at math. 7-year-old Tacoma.
Brandon, you're gonna hate me even more when I talk about my
Even
MR2
more? I
here in a
like
second.
You're my friend.
So I talked about my MR2 when we were in Rocky Mountain National Park. The last day we were there, after Zach had a chance to drive it, I was driving it, and like suddenly all the dash warning lights lit up, and so I pull over, and it has a very high tech, not even OBD1 system. So it has the little diagnostic port where you put in a paper clip on these two, I don't know what you call it, terminals, I guess. And then the check engine light flashes like 5 times, and that tells you have a bad O2 sensor, which is what it did. And I'd had this warning light before, and it seemed like it was always like if I hit a bump or something. So I'm like, oh, it's just a loose wire or something. This car has problems with the wiring, and that might still be the problem. Like right now, the dash does not illuminate, the instrument cluster does not illuminate at night, and the fog lights don't turn on. So I need to, I don't know, I need to figure out something with the wiring in this car. But I figured, well, I'll just replace the O2 sensor and see if that'll fix it. So I got that in yesterday, the day before, so I decided to do that last night before I went to bed. And it was super straightforward because not only were the bolts not rusty holding it on, they were finger tight.
Oh.
So I think that's maybe why it was having a problem when I went over bumps. Is just the O2 sensor was jiggling around and allowing exhaust to escape out there or something. I also replaced the air filter because I do not remember the last time I replaced it, and it was very dirty. So now I got a fresh, clean one in there.
Hell
and
yeah.
I think that is all that I've been up to. Sorry that took a while, but yeah.
Well, that's fun.
So Connor, yeah, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I have been up to quite a bit. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as I can. On the last episode, when we were actually in Colorado, I talked about a few things. I mentioned a couple of things real quick, but I was like, I don't want to go into any details. So I'll try and go into some of the details on some of that stuff now. So
Are you also going to explain what happened on our drive home from Chicago?
Of course, I can't avoid it.
I figured it was your car, so I would let you do it, but I am going to chime in because I helped.
Were there more speed bumps?
No, that it was. Speed bumps were not the issue going. Well, I did have to raise the car up as part of the repairs, but not because of speed bumps. So anyway, I'll get to that. I'm going to start before our trip and talk about some of the things I did to prepare for the trip, which had me under the car and doing a lot of shit and taking it to shops and doing all kinds of shit for weeks before the trip. And, when I think about it, I'm like, man, I feel like I didn't get that much done. It's just that everything I did was kind of difficult and required a lot of trial and error and a lot of adjustments and fixing little fuck-ups and whatnot. So it was, I will say it was a mistake to do a lot of this work right before a big trip. That was not the best idea. And, take it from me, if you're going to do a road trip, don't do a bunch of work like do a garage alignment for the first time right before you go on a road trip. Not a great idea. Don't do that.
It turned out fine, and you have a story from it now. So definitely do a garage alignment before a trip.
That's what I got from this.
Well, all right. So let me get started here. A few weeks prior to the trip, I actually got brand new wheels, which I like very much. I think they look super cool. They got a deep dish, and they look like sweet Hot Boy wheels. I love it.
They do. Yeah.
So they are Work T7R two-piece with white faces and the like machine metal lip. So it's got kind of like that mirror-like finish, but it's not exactly chrome, but it's not. I don't know. It's not chrome, but it's shiny and reflective. So I had those put on. I got pretty aggressive specs that were going to be a tough fit. And the reason I did was because I didn't want to wait for 4 months, to get them from Japan. And these were in stock. So I was like, you know what? I can roll the fucking fenders. And that's what I did. I had to roll the fenders like 3 times. I don't recommend it. I do recommend set aside enough time to do it right the first time instead of rushing through it and having to do it several, because it's not great when you have to do it that way. So I had to roll the fenders kind of aggressively, not quite as aggressively as I did because I had a clearance issue, but not where I thought I had a clearance issue. So the wheels that I got were 10.5-inch wide, but they had a much lower offset, which pushes the wheel further out from the hub because the center line of the wheel is actually in front of the hub, if that makes sense. So, like, the mounting face is, in this case, 13 millimeters further back from the center line of the wheel. So that's a lot of fucking space in front of the hub. So I knew I was going to have to roll the fenders a little bit, collapse that lip a little bit just to get that clearance when they travel. But I wasn't rolling it. I was rolling like the top of it more or less, whereas it was really in front of the wheel was where I was having an issue. And I'd only have an issue when I was going into like my driveway at like the perfect angle. I would scrape real nasty and it was awful and I hated it. But it was hard to kind of reproduce, so I didn't know exactly where it was. Of course, when I took the car home from the shop, I drove on the highway and I made contact all over the fender. So like it was pretty bad. I cut through a bunch of the tire, so it was like cutting into the sidewall, which was not great. But anyway, point being, I rolled the fenders a few times, and that was a real fucking struggle because it turns out the wheel, the fender roller was not like properly sized for lowered Z's. I mean, they're kind of like made for lowered cars, but for somehow the Z, sitting really high, I might add, was too low for the thing to fit right under there. So I'd have to like use a wheel spacer and then bend it back a little further. It's hard to explain, but it was a real fucking pain in the ass. I hated doing it. It was awful. And then the result was one side looks like a really clean roll and the other side looks like a really shitty roll. Don't know why that happened. It could be because I didn't clean the dirt out from the lip properly before I rolled it. I have no idea, but I can tell you one side looks a lot better than the other. But this was just a thing that added additional stress to me getting ready for this trip. I was like, well, I can't like drive thousands of miles like cutting into my tires. That's not going to be good. That's a problem. So I had to fix that. But I did. It all fits pretty well right now. So, it's good. The wheels look cool. but making them fit was kind of a whole ordeal. And if you're going to roll fenders, I do recommend find out where the clearance issue is and roll it right the first time, because if you try and go back over it, the paint will crack a little bit more. Not that I have like serious cracking, but it's like hairline cracking a little bit on the underside, and it's, I don't know, I'm going to have to address that eventually. So I didn't really give myself enough time to do this properly, and I regret that a little bit. Moving on, the other thing I had done right before the trip was I had a sound system put in. So I've been waiting for years. I've driven with a Bluetooth speaker for like 5 years in the car, and I finally put in a sound system. I saved up, whatever, and my partner helped pay for it because she said, hey, you know, I'll do that for a couple birthdays and Christmas or something. I'll help you pay for the sound system. So finally, I took that off the back burner and I put in a sound system. So 4 new speakers, brand new sub, because my car came with a factory 10-inch sub. So I just replaced that with a better one, which was the whole thing too. But that, and then a 5-channel amplifier and a head unit. Admittedly, the sound system has caused me a great deal of a huge number of issues. It has been constant problems. So it was causing some leaking into the car, which I thought I fixed before the trip. And then the week after I got home, there was water coming into the car again, so I had to refix it. And by refix it, I mean slather a shitload more RTV over the fucking wire grommet. And it seems like it's better now. I think. I did it just yesterday, so we'll see how it holds up to a rainstorm. But yeah, so that's a thing. I had to cut out the speaker cover for the sub, because the new sub has, like, the speaker comes out too much and it was smacking the fucking inside of it, so I cut that out, which was a pain in the ass, but that's cool. However, I paid people to install this, and
big mistake, never do
it
that.
Seemed, well, again, I was rushing to get this shit all done, so I was like, I'm going to take the easy route and pay someone to do this. I've had to go back once already to have some shit fixed, and now I have to go back again because it seems that one of the speaker wires is probably shorting out, because it's putting the whole sound system into like a protection mode, which means it basically doesn't work. So after the sound system, I am back to the Bluetooth speaker, which has never failed me.
So did they just like kind of jankily run some like power cables through the firewall, and that's where the water's coming in?
There is like a big giant grommet where the wire harness runs through the firewall, so it comes in over the top though. So instead of being like a vertical grommet, it's horizontal. So there is a path for water to kind of pool up around there, and it's a little bit easier to get that water ingress.
Yeah.
And it's not great because it's right by where the ECU is if it drips too much, which is not great.
Wow.
So initially, when I discovered it, I found out that the grommet wasn't seated right. It was just completely not on there properly. So I reseated it, and then I did put a little bit of silicone around the back end just to make sure. And that seemed to hold up, but, again, it wasn't quite enough. So I double-checked it this weekend, and it looked like it was still seated right. So I lobbed on a shitload more RTV, and, hoping for the best, but not sure yet. So, yeah, on top of it not working, it was also, making it rain inside the car, which is not ideal.
So you paid someone to make your car worse, basically.
Oh yeah, so much worse. It's like I'm like, holy shit, this is God, I didn't even. So I went to a car caravan for a pro-Palestine car caravan, and I was playing some pretty loud music for a long period of time, and I thought that the reason I was having an issue was the volume, but I called the tech support for Crutchfield, and they actually said it probably wasn't that. But I thought, so I was playing this at a high volume, and as I'm driving home, all of a sudden, I start smelling this horrifying smell. I'm like, oh no, that smells like my clutch is going. It is like burning clutch smell. And I was like, oh no, that's bad. And then I see a car pulled over to the side of the road with their hazards on, I was like, oh, it's not me. It's that other car. Okay, that's fine. But then I noticed there was a lot of smoke in the car, and I was like,
it was me.
that seems like not good. So I pulled over, and I'm like, oh, my clutch is toasted. And I'm like, well, it doesn't smell under the hood, and I don't see anything coming from the transmission. I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess I'm going to try and get it home. But at the same time, the sound system stopped working. So I was like, uh-oh. I hope that's not wires starting a fire. And, I mean, it was. So the car didn't burn down. So that's good. I have a fire extinguisher in the car.
Yeah, you do.
And I will say, if you have a sound system put in your car, you should probably get a fire extinguisher just in case.
It's been my personal experience. You should absolutely just have a fire extinguisher in your car.
Yeah, absolutely. You should always have a fire extinguisher in your car, no matter what.
Yeah.
My Ford is the least modified vehicle ever, and it's also been the one I have been on fire in.
So yeah, the sound system has not worked quite as well as I had hoped so far. When it works, it is cool. It's great. I love it. But, it has spent a significant amount of time not working, notably. So that's kind of an ongoing issue, still. The other thing I did to prepare for the trip was I did offset rack spacers because I was having... My wheels were contacting the tie rod body at full lock with the angle kit. So one of the things that I did was I had to realign it so that, one, that wouldn't happen as much just because the rack was off-centered. The other thing was, by using the offset rack spacers, what it does is it pushes the tie rod forward and out of the way. So theoretically, I shouldn't make any contact anymore. But yeah, putting those in was kind of a pain in the ass, and that was the reason that I had to do the alignment on my car by myself in the garage for the first time ever. And I'll be honest, it has a learning curve to it. And it was cool. It's great that I've got the tools to do that now, but I do need to go get an alignment by a professional probably as soon as I can get an appointment, because I had some issues.
What happened?
Well, I'm going to come back to it. I'm going to touch on a couple other little things that I did. I changed my fluids before the trip, and I actually just had to change them again this weekend because I put 3,000 miles on the car in the last month or whatever since the trip. So had to change all my fluids, but I changed the fluids. I did the plugs and coils, and I changed out with. Finally, there's they didn't used to not have on the market improved ignition coils with stronger spark. Recently, Z1 finally came out with some, and I put those in, and suddenly now the car does not have a random misfire code anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice.
that check engine light has been on since the engine was rebuilt. So, super psyched that all I needed was just a stronger spark, and that finally those coils exist. So I changed that, and that worked out very well for me. The other thing that I did was before the trip, we're talking a week before I left for this trip, I had a buddy of mine weld in some pieces to fix the seat mounting in my car because long story short, the bracket that was underneath the floor pan fell, and it was a whole fucking thing. So I had a friend of mine weld in some new. We got these weld nuts off of Amazon, so they're the nut, but it has these welding tabs on either side of it, so you can just weld them right in, and they were the perfect size to fit the rotted out holes in my car. So my seat is actually now nice and secure, whereas it was definitely not before this trip. So I was glad to be able to get that done before the trip. So that's the other little things that I did to prepare. So now the story about how my front end alignment, well, my whole alignment on the car, done in the garage, kind of bit me in the ass.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So we're coming back from Colorado. We left Saturday. We intended on being back to Chicago on Saturday. We didn't get back until Sunday, and the reason for that is because at basically the worst possible point in our journey, where we were too far from Denver to go back, and also very far from the nearest city that had like a place that could actually change out my tires. I blew out a tire real bad, like really blew out a fucking tire. And it was just on the inside. The outside looked fucking perfect. The inside was real bad. And then I looked over on the side of the road, I looked at the other tire, and I was like, oh shit, that one's also down to the cords on the other side. So I was like, fuck, this alignment was bad. Now, of course, I didn't have, like, I drove it before the trip, you know, for a few days, and I was like, oh, the car drives straight, it's great, it's fine, you know, nothing wrong with it. And there wasn't enough time for there to be anything wrong with it, or to show an issue. But over the course of driving 1,000 miles or so out each way, well, I didn't get all the way back, but 1,000 miles out there, plus, you know, another few hundred miles when we were in Denver, that was enough to eat through the inside of the tire, because it seems that I had the car a little bit too toe in. And I think it was sort of just a situation where I was rushing to do these alignments, and I was like, fuck it, it's close enough. And I probably left it with like 1/8 of an inch toe in or something. I don't know. It didn't seem like it was that much.
It was like half an inch.
In my head. Well, yeah, when I measured it out.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was making some measurement errors too, probably. That's the other thing, is I'm like, I think it really was hard to get good, accurate measurements with this setup. And I think there's a number of reasons for that, but you do have to be very fucking careful. So yeah, I think it was too towed in, and so it ate through the tires. And I think it was made worse because it was cambered as well. Which camber doesn't usually cause an issue, honestly, but if you have camber and then you tow in, you're wearing just the edge of it. So that's what happened. So on the side, what we were able to do was put the spare on, drive to the next exit where we found a gas station that was like a miniature truck stop, and so they had a few things that we could use to fix the problem. So what we did was we stopped, and we had to switch all the wheels out. So we had to move the front wheels to the back and move the back wheels to the front, which they wouldn't fit. So that was the reason I had to raise up the front of the car by a good couple inches or so that like when the suspension would travel, it wouldn't make contact with the wheels that were way too fucking wide for it. So we did that. The other thing we did was we did an alignment at the gas station. So we found a couple of like nylon flags that, I don't know, are for some trucking purpose, and they were on these wooden sticks.
And the sticks
and
were
we ripped off the
straight.
Yeah, well, they were not completely straight. They were straight enough. They were sticks. So we used the two flag sticks, and then we grabbed an extra tape measure, and we used tape measures and did a roadside alignment right there at the gas station to make it hopefully a little bit better.
I will say I came up with a system for using crooked sticks that I think worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
I know how sarcastic that sounded, but I'm actually being serious.
Was it like a dowsing rod situation, or?
We put the sticks together, realized that they were both curved, and so we marked which way they sat flat against each other, so marked up and down, and then marked on them where to center it to the axle and where to measure from, so that it was equidistant. And I don't know, it got us home, like it worked.
Yeah.
We didn't
Okay.
eat through the spare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then we did this alignment, and I raised the car. We did the alignment, and then we had to then drive about 30 miles or so to the nearest Walmart that had a tire center, and we're like, okay, we'll buy some new tires, and it'll be fine. Well, the next morning, I go there first thing in the morning. I'm in the parking lot. I say, okay, I'm going to buy a couple tires, whatever. They have, you know, a couple that'll work in a sort of similar size, and that was a whole thing, I'm not going to get into all the details, but at the end of the day, they said they couldn't do it. They were like, hey, we tried to take this tire off the rim and we can't do it. And I was like, that sucks because I'm like fucking stranded, dude. And they're like, yeah, that does suck. Well, good luck. So I was like, all right, no worries. I'll run on the spare till we get to somewhere that can do it. The nearest place that could do it was Lincoln, Nebraska, which was 160 miles away. So we had to take the back roads around 160 miles. By the end, I was like, okay, I feel confident going 55. But most of that time, we were going about 45 along the back roads. And it was sketchy to drive.
We were on that tiny little spare, and I donut recommend it.
Yes.
So it took us a good like 4.5 hours to go that distance. So whatever, we got there and we had the tires done. We had some lunch, and from there, we basically I think we did one stop to change drivers after that, and
fuel up, swap drivers.
Yeah, so we then drove from Lincoln it was like 7.5 hours. And we just did that straight through, except for, like I said, the one stop to change drivers pretty early on, and we were able to get home.
But you were able to get the correct tires in Lincoln?
I was able to get tires that were the correct size. Okay. They are probably not going to be the best for the track, but whatever. I'll have to deal with that, later or next season. I'll burn them off or something, whatever. But yeah, they're probably not going to be the grippiest. They're like regular people tires, and I'm like, well, okay. I was in a bind, so.
Also, shout out to that Firestone in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah, they did it. I called performance shops in the area to basically ask who they went to, and they're like, yeah, we know of Firestone that'll fucking do it.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
But then the dude was like in there offering to stay open late for people, like.
Yeah, he was pretty cool.
Dude. I mean, I don't know, maybe he was a piece of shit, but as far as like dealing with us, he was great, and dealing with everyone that came in, he was just consistently super cool.
Yeah, dude was fucking awesome. He was like the reason that shop was able to function, and I'm sure he was underpaid and underappreciated, most certainly.
And I didn't even know that reverse mount tires were a thing up to that point because I drive old shit. And it was really funny hearing him come out and be like, why couldn't they do it? We have the same tire machine they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a lot of places just don't want to fuck around with aftermarket wheels. And I'm like, man, aftermarket wheels are not that uncommon. Like, what the fuck?
Someone probably said that your wheels were relatively expensive, and they're like, oh, no, never mind.
Yeah. So, we made it. It worked. And then, of course, I was looking today, and it does seem like I'm wearing a little bit in the back, too. So I'm pretty sure I have a little bit of toe in, because when I was at 0 toe, but when I lowered the rear, it's going to toe in a little bit when you do that naturally on the Z. And normally that's great for track alignments. A lot of people run a pretty aggressive toe in to get more grip at the for drifting. So I thought that was probably okay on the street, and I'm finding out that nope, toe in on the rear is also a problem. So it's wearing prematurely, not as fast as the fronts were, but it's definitely wearing back there. So we'll see. I'm working from home tomorrow, so I might be able to just do it tomorrow afternoon because, again, I have the tools to do an alignment in the garage, even though that hasn't worked great yet. I'm going to try and just probably bring it back to 0 toe if I can, before I go get an alignment by a professional soon.
Toe in is only good for a dedicated track vehicle.
Yeah. I thought I had run toe in the rear before, so I didn't think I definitely didn't think it was an issue, front or back. I was like, well, I've run toe in before because I've done I've had track alignments and whatnot, so I was like, it's probably fine. But yeah, so. Brian, you had something?
I gotta leave, actually. The person that's looking to buy my Subaru is going to be here in about 2 minutes, so I'm going to go put some pants on. Yeah, I guess Zach will have to hear your update later when... yeah. But I guess good night for for now, everyone.
Good luck.
Yeah, bye, Brian.
Don't
Okay,
take
good
any
luck.
lowball offers. If it's cheap enough, just make it a Lemons car.
No, I'm not going to do that. I don't have the space for it. That's why I'm getting rid of it.
All right, good luck.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
It does sound
See
like
ya.
we're all hitting a wall in terms of space, because even I'm just like, fuck, if I get rid of my shop, I have to find a place to keep like 6 cars.
Need the community
I just have street
shop.
parking.
Yeah.
Technically,
Yeah,
I
that's-
can just do that. If they're all registered, I can put them on the street, but then I'm the asshole who's taking up all the parking on our block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then on that note, I suppose Zach, it's time to hear about your updates because that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah, definitely. I'll start with the biggest update that I've got, and that is that I finally got rid of the part Subaru. As
shit.
of,
Oh hell yeah!
yeah, as of last night, it is gone. I got $0 for it, but I also had to spend $0 getting rid of it. So I'd say that's a
Fuck
win.
yeah!
Did you end up getting your money back out of it, on top of the parts you needed, or?
Yes, absolutely. I ended up profiting off of that. So I spent $6,000 on the car, got the parts that I needed out of it, and made about $6,400, I think,
Hell
selling
yeah.
other parts.
Fucking
So-
sweet.
That is the fucking dream. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's
And you
seriously
still have the
like,
motor
I
from it
cannot be
too, right?
happier. What's that?
You still have that motor from it too, right?
I do, yeah. And that's the next thing that I was gonna say. Actually, is that I'm trying to sell that motor, to free up funds because my motor is doing fine right now. I could keep it for a spare, but I think my motor's doing good. So I think I'm gonna sell that motor and probably just put that money towards other things for now. And down the road, hopefully have a little more money saved up to rebuild the motor that's in it right now. So yeah, if you're looking for a Subaru STI long block in the Denver area, you can definitely hit me up. I will give you a discount if you're a Cars and Comrades listener. But yeah, got rid of that car. I just moved last month and it was still in my sister's garage. She was not super happy about it, so I'm glad to have that burden off my back now. And I'm also trying to get rid of the Ranger. I'm trying to get down to 2 cars,
You still have the Ranger?
realistically. I still have the Ranger. Yes, Alex, I do.
I think I remember
It is,
trying to push that car, selling it on the pod like fucking a year and a half ago.
You know, you
Yeah.
might be surprised to hear this as a listener to our prolific podcast. You might be shocked to discover that when we're hawking our parts and cars on this show, we don't get a lot of offers.
Damn.
Just I know that is shocking.
Yeah.
It's you would expect this stuff to go like hotcakes, you know, for a chance to own something that, you know,
A piece of history.
something that
Truly.
like your celebrity podcast hosts have had and complained about for years that you've listened to. I'm surprised more people aren't jumping at the opportunity to buy our
It
junk.
really
but,
was
you know.
wild
Yeah.
to be part of the ride of that Ranger, though. I feel like that between the transmission coming out 4 times, and I just feel like it's a part of the show.
I mean,
now.
pretty much that.
Yeah.
That was the only
Yeah.
thing we ever heard about it.
Yeah, it's just constant transmission issues, really, is all that Ranger ever has. So, if you want a Ranger with a terrible transmission, hit me up. But no, the STI long block, though, that is a good motor. It's got no issues, low miles. It's just collecting dust, so I'll definitely hook you up if you want that.
Someone buy it, please.
Please,
Please.
please, someone buy it so I can
You know what?
get some
It would
money.
It would be really cool if listeners to this show did spam our email account with lowball offers.
That would be
Or
hilarious.
real ones. Just saying, jerk Zach around a little bit. Like it could be fun. I'm definitely soliciting a bunch of emails from our listeners to buy this car.
I'll give you
So-
$500
Yeah.
for it.
For the Ranger?
No,
Or
for
for
the
the-
engine.
For the engine? I can't take 500.
400.
Wrong direction.
All right, we got a deal.
Wrong direction. No,
I don't know.
I
Maybe the world's first mid-engine STI swapped Ford Ranger is in order.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, you
That
can't
would
get
be
rid of
really
either
If
of
someone
them.
has,
You know?
yeah, if someone has goals and ambitions to do that, feel free. I'll hook you up on both of them. But for the time being, that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm
Yeah.
not
Bulk
I'm not
discount.
interested in that. Yeah, I'll give you a bulk discount if you buy them both. But no, I did sell a car, so that's officially 2 cars that I've sold on this podcast before anyone else has sold a single car, I think, of the main cast here.
Yeah, I haven't sold a car yet.
I got rid of cars. Does that count?
I think that counts. I mean, I technically didn't sell the parts car. I just got rid of it. So
Oh
I
yeah,
made no
I
money
sent
on it.
I sent 2 vans to the scrapyard.
Yeah, that's where I sent the shell, the STI shell. So
Oh, tragic but understandable.
I feel
Yeah.
like selling cars as a car guy is like the car guy equivalent of like going to an AA meeting and being like, "Yeah, man, it's been 3 months. Like I haven't." You know, like you get a token for actually selling a project car.
I deserve a token, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that is definitely in order. Someone give me a token because I got rid of 2 cars. I'm doing pretty damn good.
Hell yeah! Just don't relapse
Yeah.
and think you have space for another one now.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've sold 2, but I've also bought 2 in that same time. So ultimately, I'm right back where I started. But hey,
How hard are you actually trying to sell the Ranger? Because I feel like you actually could sell that if you were putting in the effort.
I'm not really putting in the effort. This
Yeah,
is the
there you
first thing I've done to get rid of it. Is tell our 4 listeners that I'm getting rid of it.
No, there's only
So-
3 because I'm on tonight.
Oh yeah, Alex is on right now, so it's only 3 listeners.
The reason I don't sell cars is because, like, I'm just gonna go to like Craigslist or Marketplace, and I know how I talk to people selling stuff on there, and I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, I'm trying to get rid of the Ranger, kind of. Haven't put any effort into it, but I am definitely trying to sell the SCI long block. I've got a post up on Facebook Marketplace for it, so hopefully that sells at some point. Yeah. Other than that, I've been looking at getting a weld-in cage for the Subaru. I was going to go custom, but I found customcages.com. They're out of the UK, and they have a local dealer to me, and they sell pre-bent cages that are ready to go for very affordable prices. It was like 1,800 pounds, which the U.S. dollar is actually a little stronger than the pound right now.
Dude,
so
but
that
your
comes
car
out to
already
like,
weighs like 3,400 pounds. That thing's gonna weigh like 6,000 pounds when you're done.
It is 53 kilograms, if you know how much that is in pounds. The weight measurement,
$7.
which I do not.
$7.
About $7.
It's like that's like 120 pounds or so.
Okay, so that's not bad.
For a full cage for a sedan, that's actually really good. Or is it like
It's actually a
half cage?
hatchback.
Oh,
It's a full.
I always picture it as the 4-door sedan STI, so it's like the 08 and up generation, whatever that one is. Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
GR is what it's called, but
Okay.
yeah, it's a 2011, so the 08 to 14 style hatchback.
We love a hatchback.
By the way,
yeah.
it's 116 pounds or 117 if you round up.
Okay,
That's very
Yeah,
So I
so
was
not-
pretty damn close off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that
like
was
90
really
something
good.
dollars.
yeah, no, in pounds or in dollars, the price for it is like
No, I'm saying that the
$1,400
cage
shipped.
weighs $97.
Well, I wish that it cost $97 because that would be fucking wonderful.
I'm sure on
it does
Tebow
cost
there
about
is one.
$1,400.
Are
What was that,
making-
Alex?
I was saying on Temu, you probably could get a roll cage for about $100.
Oh yeah, definitely. I should do
You know
that.
what? I actually haven't considered a Temu cage,
Don't.
but I
Don't.
should get a Temu
No.
cage. Well, okay, hold on. Bear with me.
What a way
the
to
only
say I
cage
value
need-
the appearance of safety.
That's literally what I was going to say, because that's... Look, I'll be honest. At the track, they're pretty lax. I'm supposed to have a full cage with door bars just to do tandem anyway, and nobody's looking. So I'm like, well, you know, a Temu cage might be all I need. Is just it looks like there's a cage. Okay, all right. The professional on the show, Alex, is shaking his head and saying probably don't do that. So
Yeah, we
I
don't
should
want to
value my
have like
safety
an
more.
episode 6 months from now where they're like, "How did Connor die?" And then they pan back to the Temu cage. And then I initially pitched the idea, so I can't be responsible for this.
Yeah, we're all blaming Alex
If
for
you're
that
really
one.
that concerned about a cage, but you're thinking about Timu, maybe just get like paper towel rolls and wrap them in aluminum foil.
Spray paint them silver.
Yeah.
I could put the pool noodle like fucking padding over it. No one will know the
Oh, you'll be
difference.
fine.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. No, I actually don't want to die, so I have been looking at real cages.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, it is. That's a change from the last few years of my life. So it's a big deal.
Hell yeah.
No, I don't want to die, so I'm buying an actual cage. Been pricing that out. CustomCages.com has tons of pre-bent cages for different models of car.
Oh, do they have one
just
for a
went on
65
there.
Chevy van?
Hey, they fucking might. I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I'm going to make my own.
Oh, well, of course you are. I do not have the skills nor the tools to do that, so
Me either.
I'm buying a pre-bent. Yeah, $1,400 shipped.
I too value the appearance of safety.
Yeah. Definitely the appearance of safety is a good thing to have.
Are you gonna race that? I kind of remember you saying you were gonna do some like kind of rally type racing with that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the plan. I'm trying to get into ARA events eventually. I'll probably start just with hill climb, but I'm building the car to be ARA spec. That way I don't have to, redo it when I graduate up to the ARA events. I think I mentioned on a previous episode, but I do have a co-driver who's interested in joining me on this little journey.
Nice.
Shout out Pete. He's gonna be my co-driver, and we're gonna hopefully do some ARA events. So I've got to get a pretty high spec cage for that. It's like FIA, whatever, certified.
We're gonna like systematically find a way to like integrate every one of our listeners into our show.
Absolutely. I hope that we
everyone's-
do. Honestly,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
that would be fucking great. If you're a
We're
listener,
not a
reach
podcast.
out.
We're a community.
We've got a role for you. I'm sure. Come on
Is
the pod.
that where you found the co-driver?
Yep. Yeah, he came
Hell yeah.
from the podcast. So
Nice.
yeah,
I've
pretty
been saying
exciting.
for a while a Lemons team built of the the comrades and its guests would be a very cool theme. I'm sure we'd think of a racing theme for Lemons that would probably offend a lot of people, but
Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Definitely all good news
It would
on
only
that front,
offend
though.
assholes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So fuck them.
Yeah.
No.
Now, you definitely want a high quality roll cage though, because I'd say rally racing has the highest instance of cars, rolling over, barrel
Yep.
rolling down a hill. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm doing hill climbs too, so I mean like big time goals are eventually Pikes Peak.
Oh yeah.
I would love to do that, and I'm sure all of us are at least somewhat familiar with Evo Corner and what the Evo did on that hill.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure what that meant until you were like, "What the Evo did on that corner." I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah."
It's terrifying.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. And if I do anything similar, I would like to be protected. So, yeah, that's the next step in the journey of the Subaru rally car is to get a cage put in it. Like I said, only $1,400 shipped, and there's a local dealer to me that sells these cages that Custom Cages hooked me up with. So hopefully I can save like even $400 on top of that in shipping. So I should be right around $1,000 for the cage itself. And then I have quoted from a couple places about $1,000 to $2,000 for the weld-in job. So hopefully no more than like $3,000 for a full FIA spec cage in the car, that would be
That's fucking reasonable.
yeah, that would be fucking
You have no idea how
awesome.
fucking hard it is for me to not be like, fuck a $2,000 Weldon. A flight to Denver is $300.
That's true. That's true. I should just pay you to fly out here and do it for me.
If it weren't for me starting a big boy job, I would be all over it.
Damn it.
I mean, I've got time here. We're shooting for next season, so if any time in the next year you have time to make that happen, let's fucking make that happen. I'm fully
If we're
on
being
board.
serious, I will say I can't really commit because I got to feel out how this job goes.
Mm-hmm.
And when the time comes and you're ready to pull the trigger and I say I can or can't do it, that's one thing. But I would fucking love to be a part of it.
I'm dead
Just
fucking
to be able
serious.
to say, hey, I helped out with that build on that car.
I am dead fucking serious. I will pay for your flights out here, room and board for the whole time you're out here. I'll pay to ship your TIG machine out here. I would love to, even if it cost me exactly as much as having a shop do it, I would way rather have you do it. I think that's way cooler. So, yeah, let's
Actually, by the way,
stay.
despite
up
what
on
I
this.
Despite what I just said recently about how you shouldn't do a bunch of work and then drive really far, not knowing how it's going to perform, you could theoretically drive that car to Pittsburgh to have Brandon do it if you had some
True.
time next year.
That is an option.
And you probably wouldn't have any problems driving back.
Probably
you know.
not. Although, I did, another car update, have a lovely issue the other day where my car would get it to about 3,000 RPM and then just stutter really bad and not go over 3,000 RPM. And then
I
it
love
just
when that
quit
happens.
doing that. So I think it's fine.
It fixed itself.
Yeah, it fixed itself. I did, well, unlike Connor, I did no prep work before the trip out here. And I even forgot to put a air filter on my car and then drove on a dirt road. And I think that might have something to do with it. Maybe, but
Yo,
yeah,
we
we'll
had
see.
Bryant sweating bullets on that road.
Oh yeah,
Zach specifically did.
yeah. I was having a little fun. I mean, I wasn't going too crazy. I never got over like 45, but it was like a single lane dirt road on the edge of a cliff. So
No
he was
guardrails.
concerned.
It was fun, though.
I love how much better your car was doing than like the F350s and the Silverados and shit too.
Oh yeah,
We saw a couple of trucks have to do like K turns to get around the corners, and you're just flying by them.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was fucking sick. I definitely was very proud of my car at that moment. I was like, haha, truck, this is what you're built for, supposedly. And I'm doing so much better than you. It was awesome.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about all I've got for updates. I got to build a shed to get all the shit out of my garage so I can actually start working on this car. But that's, that's not fun to talk about on a car podcast. You guys don't want to hear about building a shed.
Building a shed. Hey.
Zach,
Yes.
send me some photos, blueprints, whatever you can come up with to give me a good idea of what welding a cage into that looks like and entails, and I'll give you an honest assessment of whether or not that's something I would even be comfortable saying confidently, yeah, I can do that.
Fuck yeah, man. As soon as I have like data sheets and specs on the cage, I will send that all over to you. Because yeah, like I said,
If
I
you're
would
if
love
you're
to have
doing
you
it
do
either way, get all the shit together, get ready, and if I can make it work, hell yeah, I will absolutely jump at the opportunity. Even if we wait till there's like a 3-day weekend and then I take an extra vacation day, and we get a good 3-day shot at it, I'll work 16-hour days and get that shit done.
Fuck yeah.
I also
man.
know someone
Hell yeah.
who installed a cage overnight.
Wow.
And it wasn't like a 4 appearances cage. When I worked special effects in film, those cars had to be ready for crashes.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, they sprung on him last minute that he had to have a second car with a cage, and he was like, well, you should have fucking told me that a week ago. And they're like, well, we need it tomorrow. And I think he racked up a lot of overtime that night, but he got it done.
Fuck yeah.
So I mean, send me what you can, and I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'm sure he's autistic as shit. So I think he understands that if I don't contact him for 2 years, it's not personal.
Yeah.
But I could hit him up and be like, hey, this needs done. You got any advice?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That would be ideal for me. I would way rather have a friend do it for me than pay some rando to do it. And then, if it breaks and I die, then I can be like, it was Brandon's fault.
Hell yeah.
Would you? It's two of my favorite activities: working on cars and overextending myself.
Yes.
Hey, I will provide you with as much wild turkey as you need to get this done.
This is not a permanent decision, but I've quit drinking.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
wow.
Hell yeah.
I haven't drank since
Congratulations.
Colorado.
Nice.
Wow.
Fucking sweet, man.
Good for you. Well, I will
There's
provide
reasons.
you with as much whatever you need to get this done.
The sad part is that if I'm not drinking, then I can't drink and drive.
Yeah, that's a
That's
bummer.
always
That's
a bummer.
That's really what I miss the most.
I was wondering.
Yeah, that does make you-
I was wondering if we were gonna get a drunk driving joke. I'm glad it happened.
I managed to wedge one in after I quit drinking too.
Hey, the only
Driving's not even fun anymore since I quit drinking.
The only time we don't have drunk driving jokes on the show is if Brandon can't make it on the show.
Yeah.
I think I've only missed 1 or 2 episodes ever.
Yeah. And those
Well,
are the
guys,
only times we've missed the
speaking
drunk
of-
driving jokes.
Speaking of overextending, I do have to go work on a friend's car who's expecting it to picking it up tomorrow. So that's what I'm going to do at 9 o'clock at night.
Well,
Fun.
we've been on call for a few hours now, so I think that
Yep.
we've already lost Bryant. I think that's as good a time as any to wrap things up.
Yeah, I was
Hey,
done
guys.
with
So-
my updates, so I think that's as good a place as any.
Yeah, this is the first time we've done a just fucking car updates episode, but we needed
And
it.
I think
Yeah, honestly, it was
everybody
kinda
could
really
have
fun.
even said a little bit more. Like, I
Yeah.
obviously going to have a lot because it's been a while since I've even been on, but everybody seemed to kind of shorten theirs up, so...
Yeah.
I think Brian
I knew
wanted
I knew
to do-
Connor had a lot, and I was part of some of it, so I kind of let that go. And also, I can't fucking remember past a week ago, so I don't know what the fuck I've done.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, Brian wanted
2 of
to
my cars
do-
are running, so I'm trying to not touch them.
That's always a good idea. He wanted to do some lemons, about my recent lemons race, and maybe talk just lemon stuff in general. So hopefully I'll be back soon
Yeah.
if you guys want to do that.
Absolutely.
Personally, I love having you on, so hell yeah, anytime you want.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Great, guys. It was good seeing you.
Good
Good
to see
seeing
you
you.
too, buddy.
All right,
All right, man,
and
we'll
thanks
talk
everyone
soon.
for listening. Follow us on social media, all that bullshit. And Connor, do you want to actually drop our actual social media stuff? I don't.
We are Cars and Comrades everywhere, and that's usually that's enough of a search that you'll find us if you don't have us already. But you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Hexbear, and Facebook. Hey, we'd appreciate if you could rate us in your podcast app. So if you listen to the show and you like what we do, go ahead and give us a rating.
Only if it's
We,
5
We
stars,
would
though.
appreciate it.
Only if it's 5 stars.
Yeah, only if it's 5 stars.
Naturally.
Only if it's 5 stars. Fuck you if it's not.
Yeah.
No,
Then we hate you.
or make it 1 star and make it be really funny.
Yeah, we'll accept 1 star as long as they're funny.
On that note, bye everybody. Alex, thanks for joining
Thanks
us,
for having
and thanks for listening.
Bye.
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 We don't think fight fire with fire, bitch. We think you fight fire with water, bitch. We gonna fight racism, not with racism, but we gonna fight with solidarity. We said we're not gonna fight capitalism with black capitalism, but we going to fight with socialism.
Amazingly, or not so amazingly, Cuba's crime rate is one of the lowest in the entire hemispheres. Oddly enough, it seems that when people have their basic human needs met, they're less likely to commit crimes.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
The free market mythology, it argues that the most ruthless, selfish, opportunistic, greedy, calculating plunderers, applying the most heartless measures in cold-blooded pursuit of corporate interest and wealth accumulation, will produce the best results for all of us. Through something called the invisible hand.
What are you smiling about?
Dude, I almost had you.